You keep seeing it so many times, they learn how to describe colors and shapes. So the same thing with numbers. It doesn't make sense for us to tell it 0 is nothing, but when you put next to 1, it becomes 10. That is something, no matter how much you explain, it's not going to sit in their head in a way that they'll understand it. They'll just remember it. So most of the things we try to teach our 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds, we want them to remember. It's important to remember because they make connections with their children, they're very proud. One thing to say is my kid writes really neat. He's only 4 years old or he's only 5 years old. My kid can recite 10 line shlokas. So let's see what they... Do you all agree that you listen to a variant of this regularly from your friends, from your family, right? And you also say sometimes about your children to other people. What does this actually mean? My kid writes very neat. The stability your fingers have, the better your handwriting is. And the more patience you have, the slower you write and the better your handwriting is. It doesn't mean that your kid can write on their own. It's very easy to copy from the board and write neatly because you only have to use your hand. My kid can write sentences in PP1 or PP2. Copies really well from the board, that's what it means. So when you refer to books refer to your friends' kids' books and they are writing more than your kid, it's usually maybe because they are copying from the board. There's no way a PP1 can write a couple of sentences on their own. Again, I'm talking about 98% of the kids. Memory power is something that can be improved in all kids by very structured practice. You give me any kid who has bad memory power and I take what they are saying or trying to remember. So in what ways do kids develop as they age? There's 4 aspects that are important. One is physical, mental, social and emotional. So physical, all of us really know that, and we can see the kid is growing in size or in weight or in height. Mental, we think numbers, learning rhymes, all that is mental. Go into detail of each of these. How to develop motor skills. Art and craft activities where they are, playing with clay, where they are tearing newspaper, where they are cutting something. Writing and tracing are also activities that improve a child's finger strength. Lacing, when you put shoelace, you need to really have precise movements of your fingers. And buttons, putting your buttons, cutting on the line, sensory play. So these are the different activities that help your child to develop their motor skills, and this can be done right from the age of 2. Activities that are fun for the kid so that he feels like he has confidence with his own hands, and then his writing skills will improve naturally. So let's stop for a moment and see why is it important to develop motor skills. So this is how to develop motor skills. Let's talk about why is it important. Can anybody guess? You become independent. If you can, if you hold something and there is not enough, it's very wobbly, things in your hand are moving, then you keep meeting with accidents differently. So that's why as humans, over the last tens of thousands of years, interact with kids a lot. Parents who interact with their kids more, those kids end up being more talkative because that is what they observe, right? We mostly ask open-ended questions. I mean, open-ended questions is, actually I want to ask parents here. A teenager a couple of months ago. I asked, why do you think trees are important? What do you think the kid answered? I asked, why do you think trees are important? Oxygen, carbon dioxide. There was no opinion that I have this tree in front of my house and maybe it gives a shade, and that's why I think trees are important. It was a fact that came out of science textbook. It was a definition that came out of science textbook because that's how we have trained as a society for our kids to remember facts, right? That they've already observed and they start using the vocabulary in a sentence. And they learn to use the language to answer these questions because they are elaborating their thoughts. And that's how asking questions helps your kids learn language. Very close to my heart because I completely believe in it. And most of our parent workshops that we did this year were on emotions and why they are important. There's one thing that you have to remember for the rest of your life from today is emotion drives learning. Unless you know how to manage your emotions, you will not learn. I'll give you an example, right? You feel curious, you try to find out more information about something. So you want to know what happened. I'm talking about adults here. You want to know what happened. Some women are interested in gossip. You want to know what happened to your mother-in-law, sister-in-law's husband's sister. So you're very curious. You'll make a lot of phone calls to know what happened. For kids also, when you let them touch a cockroach, they're very curious how the cockroach is very different from human body. They'll go explore more if you let them, because they're feeling curious. If you feel so excited, you will get that energy and that discipline to complete that project. Fear. I wrote us very finishing their homework because either the parents are scaring them or they are motivating them. But the underlying reason here is again the emotion that they are feeling, and that's why they are finishing that. Don't give up until you learn that concept. So basically I just put these examples here to prove that emotions drive learning. It happens in nursery age when they are 3-year-old. So we talk in the classrooms about what is happy, what is sad, what is tired. So when they feel happy, they know that they are happy. When they become 4, we ask them, how are they feeling? We asked this question in one of the classes, how do you feel when your parents hit you or shout at you? I think I might have told this to some of the parents in workshop, but for the parents who didn't come for those, 80% of the kids said angry. I want parents to know this when you shout at your kids. When we were growing up, we were scared of our parents. We never got angry when they said something. Very few people would have. We were very obedient. Don't feel the right thing. One P2, I asked her, how do you feel? She said, excited. This is again a 5-year-old. Said excited, how come she knows the word excited? We talked about it in the classroom, but I didn't think she'd remember it, right? I asked her, why are you excited? She says, Daddy, bring new TV. And after 1 week, I happened to ask the same girl. She said excited again. And then I was like, wait, is she trying to remember and saying the same word again? She's like, why are you doing this, Ashlesa? You're feeling excited all the time. She said, no, my daddy bring new keyboard. So she had a reason to say why she was excited. When I asked her, why are you saying same feeling? She didn't get scared of me and she said, no, okay, I'm not excited, I'm just happy. She didn't change her answer because I remember I used to change my answer when my teacher had a question mark face on her. She had a question mark. Parents to understand that kids need to learn how to identify, express and manage emotions. So managing emotions is something that comes when they are 5 and 6-year-old. I have a story from first class to share. When they were in PP2, we read this book called Calming Down. It's about how people handle anger. The book has a few pages and a few people talking about how they handle their anger. I count down from 10 to 0. I sit and think, or I take a book. So Ruchita, I think, she comes to the teacher and she says, my little brother and I had a fight. I got very angry. And the teacher asked her, what did you do, Ruchita, after that? Ruchita says, I started running around the house to calm down. So it's actually one of the ways to calm down, right? You go out, you run, you sweat, and the anger comes down. I was very happy that that child knew how to identify, express, and manage emotions. So manage emotion is something that comes later. How is it important to do all this until adult life is? Say I have a child. I feel very attached to this child. I don't want to go back to work anymore because I'm very anxious who's going to handle this child. Will the child be able to live without me or not? So I'm very nervous to leave the child alone. If I don't handle that emotion, I won't be able to go further. So that is why it's important for adults also to do all these things. I'll talk about a teenager who needs to go to a hostel. You have lived with your mom for 14 years and now you have to go to a hostel, you feel homesick. Because it's a new place, you're scared, you don't know if there's going to be warm. If you don't handle that emotion, you'll never experience what's there outside. So that's why it's important for us to teach our kids how to identify, express and manage emotions. It's important for you to teach them the verbs and not just nouns. Mostly we teach them the nouns, like you take an English PP1, PP2 book, you'll have 6 birds in that, some mosquitoes, some insects. We have names of the fruits, names of vegetables. So we try to teach kids nouns mostly. We don't try to teach them verbs. Nouns are something that they get again by listening and speaking. If you want to teach your kids English at home, use verbs. Come here, get this, sit down, go there. Use please, sorry, thank you. But it's important to teach verbs. Don't cry or stay silent. So use verbs as much as you can. The amount an institution can progress has completely changed. So as a school now, we learn about what preschools are doing across the globe, not just in India. So with technology, we've been able to bridge the gaps that we had in our curriculum. So our curriculum was good before. There was a lot of emphasis on writing. What we're doing in preschool, that's why all these kids here are trying to remember. They don't know how to manage their emotions. Learning is not fun for them. It's more studying. Studying is not learning. Studying is very boring. So that is why we changed our focus in preschool itself. All our lessons that we do are activity based. I'll show you some of the pictures. The kid can learn by playing with a pipe. A small low pressure hose. She likes it because something is touching her hand all the time with a lot of pressure. Then she opens it, some water comes out, she opens it completely, all water comes out. And she understands now that the amount of water that comes out, it is dependent on the opening. It's something that's natural. But if you teach that in a physics class, in 5th class, there will be a formula for it. Enthusiastic, you teach them colors and shapes. Why do you teach them colors and shapes? And that is why we teach them, this is red color, this is square shape, this is rectangle shape. Because when you are growing up, when you're 2 years old, you start processing everything, you don't know how to talk about it. And we give vocabulary to them. And that's why we teach colors and shapes first. Because those are the first things that the mind sees. The classroom. Kids who are listeners, kids who move and learn, and kids who talk and learn. And all are active as movers, listeners, and talkers in the class. So we wanted to teach the word crawl and then ants crawl. So we got all the kids to crawl on the floor. And they had a lot of fun because kids like moving their bodies. They like to learn with their bodies. So we involve their bodies as much as we can in any activity that we do. This is again a very blurred picture of a girl who's writing on the floor. We asked the kids to draw an ant on the floor. We use the floor to do a lot of our activity because when we get them to do it in the book, they don't like to erase. They want it to be very perfect. When I ask them to draw an ant, right, so there's 3 circles, 3 ovals they have to draw. The oval is not perfect, they get very tensed. The teacher will say something or parents will say something. So when they erase, the page takes. So pages are blank. So we took the books out for activities where they need to think more and they have to develop their thought on the go. We decided to stick to the floor and we do this in first class also, and it's amazing to see how some kids write 5-6 sentences. So this is in PP2, teacher asked every student to write 2 or 3 sentences about ants. She wrote, ant is eating honey. And all this she wrote on her own. There was nowhere she was copying anything from anywhere, right? Every kid's answer is separate. I'll show you another kid. So this kid drew an ant here. She wrote ant has 1 antenna, ant has stomach, ant has head. The teacher doesn't teach on the board how to draw an ant. We actually collected ants. So there's a lot of ants in where I live. I put 6 or 7 big. So by seeing the ant, they actually learn to draw an ant themselves. In fact, Shamshad did this class on insects. We got butterflies, dead honeybees so that they don't sting the kids. Everything that we could find that was crawling and creeping in the school. Using and label the shapes, right? So she drew an umbrella with the sun and then she writes circle, semicircle, square. She drew something completely different. This was the same class. She likes a lot of circles. So she's drawing the watch here. She started writing the numbers also. So this activity we do it in our PP1 class, 4-year-olds, when they're learning how to write letters. And with my eyes closed, I need to guess what letter the other kid wrote. Basically, we're trying to read. So it improves their concentration. It is fun, and it also increases their knowledge of the letter. This is our class on cleanliness. So 10 years ago, I used to visit my mom often, and I have my cousins who are much younger than me, and so I used to look at their books. I looked at textbooks of 2-3 different schools, and there was one page on cleanliness which said, why is cleanliness important? This was for UKG level. And there was question and answers, there was a mop, there was a broomstick, and that's it. So we thought, why don't we get the kids to divide the classroom to 4 stations. One station where they use the broomstick here. One station that does the mopping. What did you do? Why did you do? So this gets them to talk about. This is our playground which the kids made. So we have a lot of playthings like any school would have, but we let the kids move them around. So we have a couple of small slides and we were watching what the kids would do. They started moving all the slides and they arranged it in a line, because usually when you climb up and come down, you have to go around again to climb up and come down, right? So they don't want the fun to end. So they put everything in a line, because here they climb, they come down, they climb immediately. They don't have to make that turn, because they don't want the fun to stop. So this is why I'm saying emotion drives learning. They did this because they want to have fun, they don't want it to stop. This is our colors day in nursery. The way we do colors is we find everything that is white in color and set up the class in white. And the kids wear white and come, and that's how the classroom is for a whole week. Right? Spelling homework is writing SQAUAR, SQAUAR. Kids also move their bodies and do that. Is not talking in public, is very shy. I see a lot of parents coming and telling me, my child is not saying hello, my child is very silent, you should do something. When you are not talking, there's no way your child will talk, because he or she is seeing you more than they are seeing us. Okay, will that comment of mine get more answers? A little bit patient, tolerant, adores kids. The next three things are important. Self-motivated to learn. So I had one teacher came in last year for an interview, and I asked her, so she said, these are my qualifications. I went to Telugu medium school, but it's okay, I can teach preschool ABCD Emundi nenu chepta. English lo ne chepta. So that's the mindset. And she says, I just moved to Nizamabad and my family told me I have a degree, I have to go teach in preschool. Though I'm Telugu medium. So I want that mindset to change, and I want you to think that's not what preschool teachers are. Preschool teachers are, yes, they're very patient, tolerant, they adore kids. But they have to be self-motivated to learn, have good communication skills, speak English, or at least want to speak English, that they will go to an extent that they check on YouTube and learn. Encourage love of learning and discovery. Don't run is all negative. Positive is walk slowly. Do this instead. So teachers need to use those kind of language. A group of teachers, we have about 14, 15 preschool teachers, and I'm so proud of them, because in the last 2 years they have invariably have fun. So this is a group of teachers discussing how do we do the modes of transportation class. Any trash that we find, we get it to school, we make a teaching aid out of it. So this is some thermocol thing that came with a new TV, I guess, and these are small things. So we were teaching kids about road rules and why road rules are important, not just me. And that thought, you don't know how the power of that thought. So again, teachers, even to teach preschoolers, even though you're teaching letters, you need to learn you need to prepare how to teach the letter. So let's say like you're teaching the letter A. You can't just come in the morning and open a book, right? So you have to bring things that start with letter A. You have to decorate your classroom with stuff that starts with letter A. So that's what I'm talking about and planning. To summarize, proximity is something you shouldn't look for, because in Nizamabad, every place can be reached in 15 minutes. When you don't look for accelerated learning, don't look for breadth of curriculum, look for depth of curriculum. Third thing is, does anyone remember the third thing? The third thing, yeah, value for money. So value for money is something that's very important. Ask yourself, what are the facilities, who are the teachers, what is the class strength, what is the curriculum? These were questions you should ask before you calculate value for money. And again, so play is the highest form of research. This is what Albert Einstein said. So I guess that's why he's become such a... You have to think about the difference between a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old. Nobody's saving time by putting a kid early in a class. Thank you.
Which I found very good. And I am feeling very blessed to be joined by both of the kids in this presidency school. Strategic planning of the school is very good. Yeah, of course, there's a lot. There's more things, minutes or something like that.
2.5 years old, and he took a very bold step. So his daughter was getting again first rank, whatever it is. but he took a decision to repeat it. Whatever she draw, so we were doing a lesson on water wastage, and she drew two ladies, one who was wasting water at the tap with the tap open, and the other lady who was at the door with the. She spends a lot of time to think, and she puts it on paper. And I'm really happy to see that though she is repeating PP2 in traditional stuff.
Chance to she doesn't feed it. The teacher doesn't feed it. She gives the chance to think like on her own. That's the positive thing which and the emotions which she gives and she explains. She even shares everything with her brother. And even he is learning a lot with her. And she is giving a chance for her brother to learn. The brother, he even expresses everything, and even he expresses his emotions very clearly. Once I scolded him, so I asked him, are you angry? He even teaches everything to her brother. She guides him in the this is not the correct way.
To talk to the other parents is I want you to know what to observe in your child. Don't just look at the homework and see it's done. You need to start observing them a little more in detail, and then they learn faster and better.
I am the parent of Dakshayani. She's a First of all, I would like to say thank you to Presidency Kids Management and teachers, because they are giving good education to our, which helps to improve their language and their education and everything. Actually, teachers are calling to children's, and here though mostly children are playing methods they are learning, and this school is providing very different from other schools. And education is very good. My Dakshayani, when I asked her to say if I give any topic to her, example like about school, Day, festival, like that, if any topic I give, she speaks very good English. And with her own sentence, she prepared 2-3 sentences and she say very good English. First of all, this school is giving very international standard education. First, and lastly, I am going to say that thanks to Shravya, she sacrificed her future and providing very good education to our children. And I am very lucky to say that I am the parent of Presidency.
Small town, I know how difficult it is when you get out of Nizamabad. So I want to make sure that I feel good by doing this, and it's something that it's not a sacrifice, yeah. But that's it. That's another example of how children can actually learn to think in depth. You don't think about breadth of the curriculum. When you calculate value for money, remember the things. And please go back and read about the difference between a 3-year-old, 4-year-old and 5-year-old, because I want you also to understand where we are coming from.
Parents think a lot after a child has completed 10th class as to what the child needs to do. But parents who have kids who are 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds, I felt they don't invest as much time and effort in looking for the right school. That said, they also don't know what to look for in a preschool. So we did a workshop today on understanding what actually a preschooler needs and what parents should look for in a preschool. The first thing that I notice parents looking at is proximity. Proximity means how close your house is to the child's school. So we asked the parents a question: is this convenient for the adults or is this convenient for you? So in a place like Nizamabad, any school can be reached in 15 minutes. So proximity shouldn't be something you need to look for. The second thing that parents look for is value for money. Value for money is different from affordability. Affordability is based on your financial status, but value for money is something that you see, okay, I'm paying so much money, am I getting its worth? So for a preschool, parents usually think they are just learning numbers, letters and art and craft. So why should the fee vary so much? So we've addressed various concerns like that, and why they are concerns and what actually should be important in a preschool. That's what our workshop was about. Importance of early childhood education. Thank you.